Hi, good morning, good afternoon here. I'm Iman Rana. I'm the Digital Marketing Manager at Degreed, and I will be coordinating the webinar today. So we're going to let a few more folks roll in, and we'll start about a minute after the hour. Thank you, and in the meantime, we'd love to know where you're coming in from. In the group chat, which is enabled at the bottom of your screen, you can talk to all attendees and presenters. Looking forward to seeing where everyone is from. Great. So I see a lot of representation from around the United States. We have our speaker from Boulder, Colorado. Just wanted to do a call out. Jeff from Utah, Cedar Rapids, Iowa, some Canada representation, Mexico City as well. Welcome all. It's really, really exciting to see you all here. So I wanted to kick things off with some housekeeping items. We use On24, which is a very interactive platform. You can use group chat in which you can talk to all attendees as well as presenters. If you have any questions, please use our Q&A feature. We will be moderating questions throughout. So please do not feel that you have to wait to ask questions until the very end. I am super excited today that we're talking with Sarah Dansel. She's the head of communications at Degreed. Just some fun facts. I know she can tell you guys a little bit about herself, but she lives in Colorado, as I called out before. She's a mom of 2 pit bulls, and she loves baking, and she's always learning. And with that, Sarah, I hand it off to you.
That is pretty much me in a handbasket, Iman. Thank you very much. Welcome, everybody. Thanks for joining. We've got a really wonderful global audience. So thank you for taking the time. I hope that you find today really useful. I want to start out by kind of calling out the elephant in the room right now and putting 2 offers out for you. One, Degreed is here for all of you. No strings attached. I know that I recognize that we're a vendor, but no strings attached. If there is someone that within our network, one of our executive team, if you would just like to have a conversation and chat, talk strategy, some ideas, vent, I will help facilitate that conversation or be your person. We are all in this together right now. I know things are disruptive and challenging. So know that every single person from the Degreed team is here to support all of you through this time right now. Second, I'm really grateful that you showed up. I realize that there's varying messages in the market right now about the role of marketing and sales and purchasing right now. So I'm glad that you came because this is going to be a different kind of webinar. We are going to talk through kind of getting over the hump and making the business case and talking about what should be within your ecosystem and some of those pieces. So again, as Iman said, if you have questions throughout, please let me know. We'll answer them, as we go, and then we have a little bit of time at the end. My goal is to have you in and out of here in 45 minutes so you can get onto your next meetings and be respectful of the transition time it takes. And I'll let you know now, lots of family around, different dynamic for remote working, so there could be dogs, children, everyone making an appearance. So be patient with me, and maybe we'll have a little bit of levity in the situation. So as Iman said, I'm the head of communications and client advocacy at Degreed, and I have the very distinct pleasure of getting to connect with our strategic clients on a regular basis. And I'm bringing to you today the things that I'm hearing, the things that they are thinking about and the ways that they're designing their ecosystems. So first and foremost, these are the 3 things that we will cover. We're going to start with data and trends and kind of what all of you are already, I'm sure, very familiar with as what we're seeing happening. And then the role that tech can play, that was one of the things to be completely transparent with all of you, we kept wondering, do we even have these events? Do we do this right now? Do we talk about purchasing and buying and, kind of the role of tech? But the truth is when we take a step back, technology has the incredible ability to help organizations scale and to remain more agile and to potentially support in some of the, moving forward and recovering from this kind of disruptive time that we're in and even help people throughout it as we don't really know what's coming up in this crazy world that we're in these days. So looking at how tech can be an enabler for scalability. And then last but not least, 5 steps to having a better tech stack. We will go through those 5 steps individually, including recommendations. So first section, data and trends and the future of work. Okay, so quick first exercise. In the group chat, again at the bottom, or you can put it in Q&A. Does anybody know, so this sign is in the Valley in California, in Silicon Valley. Sun is on the front. As many of you know, they went through a wild time of disruption about a decade ago. Does anybody know what organizations headquarters sign is on the back. I'm going to give you just a couple of seconds to put into the group chat to see if you have any ideas. Anybody know what's on the back of the sun sign in California? Nope, not Salesforce. Okay. Well, good thing, because you guys would have, Callie, you got it. Yes, it's Facebook. So this is one of my favorite kind of disruption stories, is that Facebook made the conscientious decision to leave the sun sign on the back of their headquarters sign as a daily reminder for employees as they're coming and leaving the building of what happens when you are not a quick and agile organization, when you are not thinking about the future and not thinking of new ways to be innovative. And I think the reason that that is ever more important today than ever, one, the crisis that we're living through, but two, that the statistic that's on the screen, the fact that we are over the next 10 years going to see over half of the S&P 500s be replaced. These are organizations that were built for long term, that were built for scalability, that have regular individual and to growth. And then the biggest thing the lever we can pull here, we'll get into it in a second with some data, is managers. We all report into someone, even at the executive level. How can we pull the manager level to be a little bit more efficient within our development? But the good news is, we talked about this just a second ago, this is the moment that we've been waiting for. We have this wonderful opportunity now where the CEOs know that skills are a problem, tied back to the fact that we know we don't have the skills that we need to move forward. So we have a wonderful opportunity here to marry those two things, the efforts of the L&D and talent functions with getting kind of business line of sight. So here are kind of the uncomfortable takeaways that I want to leave you with as we move into kind of what this means and kind of how to create the ecosystem that supports this a little bit better. First and foremost, technology is going to do everything. We've heard a lot about, it's going to destroy jobs. What nobody really talks about is also going to open up a lot of doors for other positions. So technology is going to do it all, destroy, change, and add jobs. The truth is, companies need to reskill or die. We know, we've asked multiple CEOs, do you know the skills you have within your workforce? And by and large, the answer is no. But knowing right now, we're seeing the shifts now. We're seeing organizations, struggle to kind of keep up and move organizations forward. So they have to reskill. Next, L&D and HR shouldn't do it alone. This is the responsibility of every single person at the organization. Every person has the opportunity and the need to have a role in the career development and progression. Managers, executives, and creating that culture and environment and the tech ecosystem that support it. And then let's be really uncomfortable here for a second. Us, as individuals, as workers, we need to take control and really move ourselves forward in learning new skills and being, just dying learners all of the time, just really appreciating that. And then 4, of course, I come to you today with some ideas and some suggestions, but I don't have all the answers. Degree doesn't, and my guess is you don't either. But that's why we're coming together, is to group solution, to be really supportive in a community aspect of moving forward. So what you're all here for, tech is the enabler and how we can move forward. This image is probably no surprise to many of you, but this is what most L&D talent HR stacks look like. It is a mess. Most organizations and staff don't know where to go when they need to learn something or find something out about somebody, or even applicant tracking as we move organizations forward and move talent around. And the least favorite part of all of this is none of these situations talk to each other. None of these tools communicate with each other. So when we talk about the need to reskill or die, how can we do so if none of these platforms work together, so you are never able to get a complete or holistic view of the skills that are being developed or the learning that's happening, to understand what your workforce has in terms of capabilities. So as we go around, these are the 5 things that I think that you can do to build a better tech ecosystem and tech stack. First and foremost, we have to identify what are the pitfalls, what are your problems. We kind of just looked at the fact that the tech stack is a mess, but that's probably not your only issue. Gathering requirements, what is it that we need? If the employee is at the center, if we need to personalize, if we need to be fluid, what are the requirements that your specific organization has? And then 3, jumping over to the right, exploring potential solutions. I have some suggestions here for questions that you could ask vendors to make sure that they're actually doing what they say they do. selecting the right supplier. You need a partner here more than anything. This is more than just checking off RFPs on a box. You need to go into this like it's a relationship, like it's someone that you're going to have an ongoing partnership with. And then 5, communicating the value. Once you've picked your stack, how do you communicate the value of it? How do you get other stakeholders and executives on board? So we'll go through each of these, step by step. So first and foremost, identifying your problem. I mentioned earlier the How the Workforce Learns report that Degree did. And the biggest takeaway, I know that this slide's a little busy, but the biggest takeaway here is, what does your organization want? And for me, it was just a reiteration of the value of skills right now. The first and most important thing that people wanted was learning aligned to their gaps. Here's my challenge for all of you. If this is what they want, but we're not measuring skills, or we don't know what the gaps people have are, how can you do that? How can you align learning to skill gaps? So that's the first thing. They want guidance on what to learn from all of you. 2, recognizing the fact, and this is a mindset shift, and I know this is hard. We work on this internally all the time, that skills are developed every day in multiple facets, not just in the work setting, right? So if we think about and look at your own habits, right? Right now we're not commuting, maybe just downstairs to the home office, but usually on commutes, you're watching videos, articles, listening to podcasts, potentially. What we need to recognize and really put out into the workforce is that those are learning moments too. So when we talked about folks, and the size of the bubble is how frequently it came up. So we asked folks, what are you doing to learn on a day, weekly, monthly, quarterly basis? The biggest finding here is that where most of our budgets go, which is to those formal moments, that is still very relevant. It is just happening less than the informal things like the articles, like the podcasts, like the videos. So how can we make it an and situation where we're providing formal and informal moments, where we're able to provide peer support and managerial support? So really, again, the power of the and in this scenario. And then last but not least, we talked about this earlier as a takeaway to the first section, but building organizational capabilities is everyone's job, not just L&D and HR. I know for many years, myself included, we hear, hey, we've got a managerial problem, L&D, go fix it. Hey, we've got a training problem, CHRO, can you fix that in your team? But the truth is, learning is happening all of the time. And if we believe that to be true, my favorite piece of this is kind of the salmon there, or what Degree brand lovingly calls fry sauce color, in the middle there, the opportunity of managers and peers here to support. That the first place people went when they had a question, 62% there in the middle, was their professional network. And next down on the list is my manager or mentor. This tells me that immediately people go where they trust. They go somewhere where they think they're going to get the answer faster, what they would consider a SME in the question that they have, or whatever it is that they're trying to learn. So then second piece here, now that we've talked through identifying your problem, right? So let's just revisit quickly. We need to leverage managers. Developing capabilities that the org needs to be the job for everybody. And then the first piece is that learning is happening all of the time. So if we know that those are our top priorities out of the org, what does that mean for the requirements that you're building? So this is the second piece. Couple of stories here we're seeing as organizations are realizing or questioning, do they have the skills to move forward? We're seeing layoffs, furloughs now more than ever, unfortunately. Of course, we started developing this deck before COVID, but we are seeing a lot of layoffs. But the interesting piece of this is that, let me challenge you for just a second with a statistic like this. Just over $1 billion in restructuring charges at General Motors. What if they took that $1 billion and reskilled, upskilled, had set themselves up a little bit better to do some internal mobility? Again, I'm not a math person, but it would be just over $200,000 per person for those 14,000 folks that are being laid off. Now, granted, not all of them should stay, right? Again, let's be honest. Not all of them should stay. Not all of them are long-term employees in the sense of what we want from a capability standpoint. But I would garner to bet that a lot of those folks, if we did invest that money back in, you could do a lot of reskilling and a lot of upskilling and a lot of internal movement that would both save on cost for you having to pay out packages but also retraining these folks for other things that both betters your organization and the livelihood of these individuals. Another story I really like here is Kraft Heinz. Anybody know, we'll put it in the group chat, anybody know what are the two most innovative things Kraft Heinz has done in the last 5 years? Let's call it the last 5 years. What are two things that how are you prioritizing the individual in the things that you are offering? Are you giving them self-actualization? Are you helping with their esteem? Are you helping with their relationships, safety and security, or physiological needs? What's great now is that skills can be tied to these pieces. This is your value proposition right here, because now if you're building up your skill set, all of these things come into place, whether it's, oh great, I have more skills so that I could move up, or that I could find a new job, or I could make more money. That is the value proposition right there for the what's in it for me for employees is exactly that, because now all of a sudden these pieces are tied together. So that, and we came in just over 30 minutes, was the goal. I leave you with this, and it's edgy, but it's powerful for me. This is something, I go to sleep thinking about the statistic. Be ashamed to die until you've won some victory for humanity. This means more right now probably than ever before. But the role that we all have, the biggest opportunity is that our staff, our executives are looking to us right now to help the workforce move forward more efficiently and to be better prepared for crises like this in the future. Fight for your staff. Fight for them, fight for you, and it all comes back to you as well. Keep going, keep learning, keep encouraging that of yourself. Don't be afraid to innovate. Don't be afraid to fail and learn from those mistakes, but keep going, keep fighting for all of the meaningful things that we have in front of us. I know that we can do this together. So keep going, keep working hard. And that leads me to last questions. Thank you all so much for being with us. A bunch of questions that have come in, so I'm going to go ahead and move through those. And really quickly, I work really hard to make sure that our webinars and the content experiences that we are putting out are not sales pitches for Degreed, because I feel like that will come. But Degreed, just so everybody knows, is an upskilling and kind of skill measurement and development platform that connects all of the learning, again, the power of the and, all of the learning that's happening within your organizations, and connects that learning and your people to the opportunities and resources that they need to move forward. So you can go in, see a skill and learn, and then get the new skills that you need to move forward and map that to the opportunities, whether it be projects, jobs, roles, whatever it might be within your organization. And then, of course, that cyclical effect of seeing what you need and then the learning to help you achieve the skills to get there. So with that, we will go back to questions. Thank you all. Let me start here. There's been a lot. Holy moly, y'all. Look at you go. Okay. For the survey group, is our target group both white and blue collar? Yes. We had just under 800 folks from a variety of industries, a variety of roles, and a variety of levels within the organization, both white and blue collar across the globe. Thank you for the question. Dan? Mustafa, thanks for the question. Unfortunately, some managers and HR folks are lacking the competence and skills needed to address the challenges. I agree 100%. We actually have the greatest... When I talk to my own clients, one of the biggest barriers is that we have an inadequate management force. Managers have often been used as kind of a promotional tool, whether they are ready or not to lead and manage people. So I would say, a lot of people say, where do you start? And my recommendation is managers. Manager training, manager support. What does it mean to be a good manager? Emotional intelligence is also very important. I think that's a non-transferable skill or a transferable skill, no matter where you're at. So I agree. Great. My recommendations to those organizations are to start there. What does it mean to be an effective manager? The other thing, I'm not a fan of a huge hierarchical organization and or a flat one, but don't promote your managers until they're actually ready. Don't use managers or people management as a tool for promotion. Find other things, rewards, mechanisms, moving people laterally, or maybe if they are ready to be a manager, that there's some sort of training program that can help them in between. But think about those things and those capabilities before you put folks into those managerial roles. Okay, next question from Jane. Are many companies using the NPS to identify how they are doing as it relates to employee satisfaction? Yes. A lot of organizations. It's growing. When I first started at Degreed 4.5 years ago, it was less. And now over half of our client organizations use some level of NPS. The other thing that seems to be very popular is just surveys. Helping in, and I love the transactional aspect of that, letting employees make suggestions and recommendations for what they want out of their employee experience. So surveys, NPS are great. The only thing that I think is a downfall of the NPS is it doesn't allow for feedback. So if your staff wanted to say, hey, we would really like more informal, or hey, we do need manager training or leadership training, whatever, that they're unable to give you that, of course, without being anecdotal. So I think either one you can't really lose. Feedback is feedback, and allowing it to be a two-way conversation more than just that push methodology is always going to be my biggest recommendation. Okay, next question from S. Taylor. From Kentucky. Welcome. Hello. What role does purpose alignment play in a talent development program? I don't think there is something that is more important, to be quite frank with you, than purpose. So Unilever is a client of Degreed, and from the very beginning, they implemented purpose in everything that they've done because of that. When people care about and they think it's of a higher mission and they think there's a larger goal associated, they will always be more invested. We see it across the board. It's one of the things that Degreed has implemented more recently, but purpose, the what's in it for me, could not be more important when trying to get folks involved and on your side. There has to be a benefit statement there. And when it's a psychologically safe place and when it's something that people care about and emotionally tug at your heartstrings, that is when people get involved. Think about yourself. This is a U.S. reference, but Sarah McLachlan does a animal welfare video that I don't know a single person that has a dry eye in the room. Grown men and grown women just sobbing with these animals in cages because it does exactly that. It is tied to purpose and tugs at your heartstrings. And most important, again, it speaks to the last slide. The what's in it for them, has to be tied back to why your employees need to take time and make time for this right now. Okay, next question from Antonia. Hello. Okay, how do you discover what people really think about their own level of happiness or the degree in which they feel happy in the organization? This is a great question, and I, to be completely honest with you, don't feel like I have the answers. For me, happiness is associated with engagement. Are people there? Are they doing things together after hours? Are they acting as a mentor to other staff? Are they taking, the time to do those things? What are they rating? And when you ask them in feedback, I think that right now more than ever, and I hope moving forward, we are going to see this kind of combination of talent and performance management coming together, right? So hopefully moving away from only yearly performance reviews and actually having regular feedback conversations, which I think could not be more important. I think ask, as silly as that sounds, ask your staff if they are happy and have more frequent career development conversations so that one, that how you can better support your staff. Two, they're thinking about it too, so that they're always kind of seeing that new challenge, being able to think about their future and what success means for them. And then, of course, so that you're invested in them. Really, at the end of the day, if we go back to Maslow's hierarchy, we all want to be cared about and have people around us be supported, whether we're introverts or extroverts. Being happy is I think, a matter of finding out what motivates people and what makes them happy. And for me, that's usually tied back to engagement and our folks getting involved in not only their job, but within the team or, right now, virtual happy hours and scheduling things and helping our more junior staff or whatever it might be. But I'm seeing it in, different facets of engagement. Great question. Jane, how are companies getting the message that it is employees' responsibility to take charge of their careers? Great question. I think it varies by organization. We are still overcoming across our client base command and control environment. It is very hard to build trust. But if there is something that you can do, it would be that. We have to educate our executives and leaders on the value of trusting our employees. These are grown adults. I mean, truly, let's call it out. These are grown adults. They know what they need. They're going to go and do what they need. And the reality is, if we think that people aren't learning on their own, if they're not reading articles, one, the data tells us that they are, but two, the issue is with us, not with them. If we are not allowing them to learn in the ways that they want and to personalize the experience. And then after that, it's we're not going to do anything that doesn't benefit us in some way. Obviously tied back to Maslow's hierarchy, but we're drained. All of us are strapped for time and emotional support. And right now, especially being everything to everyone, I'm sure like many of you. So there has to be a value proposition there. And so I think for me, this is where L&D and HR and talent can learn something from marketing. And that we have to be marketing the talent development programs within our organizations. We have to help them know what's in it for them. But why? What is it? Is it monetary? Is it the ability to move around within the organization? Is it even maybe potentially another opportunity outside of the organization? Is it management? I think this is definitely a marketing opportunity that we have to just explain why they should take charge of their careers and how they will benefit from that situation. Okay, we're going to keep going on questions. Holy moly. Agree, great points. There's a really great group chat for those of you that are in the group chat. There's a lot going on in there, but I agree 100% that the company can't abdicate its responsibility for a learning environment. You know, the truth is, and we talked about it before, we all have a role here. Everybody has some level of responsibility, whether it's creating the culture from the top down to implementing the technology ecosystem that gets us there, to managers having regular check-ins and helping our staff understand what it is that they need. And then, of course, the individual taking responsibility for the development of themselves. It's why we actually see the popularity, a bit self-serving, full transparency, but Degreed offers a lifelong learning transcript, believing that what you achieve, the skills that you have that's for you. That's not for the organization. So you should be able to take that with you when you leave for the next organization or next role. You know, that is a huge value proposition for folks, is understanding that. Kristen, great recommendation regarding happiness and engagement. Daniel Pink's book, Drive. I love it. It is such a good resource and has some really great ideas for kind of how you can increase some of those pieces. Awesome. Okay, well, I promised you only a 45-minute session, so I will let you get off to your next meetings and everything else. My information is here on the screen. If you would like, again, for me to introduce you to somebody else, if you would like to talk this out, if you'd like to see more data, talk through more strategy, connect you with someone at Degreed, anywho, any way that my team or I can be of assistance, thank you for making the time today. I really appreciate this incredible dialogue with all of you. I wish you wonderful weeks. Please stay well, healthy, and happy, and we will see you at the next event. Talk soon.